Hi, I'm Michelle, and I love pottery. I also love the animated series, The Great North. It's been a long week, but I'm really looking forward to making Ham's mug today. It is round and almost a circle. I'm not going to be able to throw it completely round like that. I'll need to have a little bit of a bottom or it'll roll off the table. But it has a round handle and it looks like you can fit maybe 2 or 3 fingers in there, like holding it comfortably. It's a little bit smaller than the other mugs that we've seen already. And it's been dipped in like a brown, maybe burgundy glaze with a bit of raw clay on the very bottom, still visible. So I'll leave that and sand it up when I'm ready to decorate. But first, I have to make it. So let's get to work. Okay, I'm starting with a 600-gram ball of brown standard stoneware clay. Got a new angle going today, so hopefully you can see it all right. Just gonna get this centered first. So we'll do this with every ball of clay, and one of the ways to get around having to do that every single time would be to throw off the hump, which would be getting a large lump of clay and throwing your pieces from the top of it. So like pretend this is a really big mound of clay, I could be pushing this down and making a cup out of the very top of it, and you just keep making cups or vases or whatever it is you want to do off that one lump of clay, and you don't have to keep centering and coning every time. But I'm not doing that, so I'm going to center and cone this, and this is just getting the clay ready to be moving in this counterclockwise direction, getting the clay particles aligned, squeezing out any air bubbles that might be in there, and just centering it so that when I push down in the middle, it's in the center, and I have an even amount of clay all the way around the edges. So when I pull up the sides, I don't have any lumpy bits that maybe want to grow larger, pull up higher than the other sides that have less clay. So really want to get it as centered and even as possible. And I know it's centered when I kind of make this pancake and I'm holding it and there's no wobble, no wiggle. If it does start wiggling, I'll push it down from the top and then push back in. Okay. And that evens out the sides. So it's just this little slab of clay right in the middle of my wheel. It's even on the edges. Right? So now I'm ready to push in the middle. This is going to be the inside of my cup. And I do see a little bit of a wobble. I'm just going to kind of pull this out and slowly push it down. And check to make sure I have the desired thickness on the base. This bottom part is going to be the foot of my mug. So I want it to have enough clay that I won't carve through the bottom of it when I'm actually putting that foot on. You want it to be at least like a 1/4 to 1/3 of an inch thick, and it does get thicker as the clay shrinks, the water comes out of it, the clay particles kind of come together more. So you get a little bit of a thicker base. Now I'm just pulling out a little bit on the walls so I can start pulling up. So Ham is the second eldest. He's only about 9 months older than Judy. They call them Alaska twins because Beef and Kathleen have been very close together. And they're really in sync as siblings. They spend a lot of time together. But Ham kind of does branch out in the show and gets his own hobbies and interests. He loves to bake, and he actually steps in as the Alaska cake lady, which is apparently a small town tradition of having a person who makes the cakes, the cake lady. And every year, this person bakes a special cake for an event for the whole town. And Ham kind of took that on and was pretty stressed out about it because he wanted to keep it a secret, and he didn't ask for help, was doing it on his own. Just kind of figuring out who he was. He has a boyfriend named Crispin that is newer in town. He was like a new student, and actually Judy had a crush on him when he first started at the school. And she asked him out to a dance, and Crispin was like, yeah, sure, your brother will be there, right? So poor Judy went on this date that she thought was with a guy who was interested in her, and she was just kind of blinded by the signs that he was actually more interested in her brother. And Ham and Crispin were really cute together. They dated for a long time, and they made each other happy, spent a lot of time together. Ham is a sweetheart. He doesn't always know exactly what's going on. He gets confused about things, but his heart is absolutely in the right place. He just loves spending time with his family. He loves playing games as a group, and just kind of enjoys that quality time. As he said, he likes when likes when we lose, he likes when we win. He just likes playing. So I've got a bit of a round, kind of almost looks like a beehive, which is not exactly what I'm going for. But let me see if I can clean up the space a little bit and then use my tools to shape it. I'm going to use my rib out here and just shape that. Oh, I'm starting to lose the form. Okay. I have to get a little more hands on this. I'm starting to think I might want to rethrow this one. This bottom, I don't know if you can see the angle that you're at, but it's really wonking up a bit. And now it's starting to shake. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to start this one over. Do differently next time. I think I will push the base down a little more, bring it out a little bit more, and try to get those walls a little bit thicker. I'm gonna bring the walls up. And listening to that clay, when it's catching on my hand, just getting more water, making sure that it has Plenty of water to slide and space to move freely as it is guided up. I call it pulling up the walls, but you're not really pulling so much as just kind of guiding the clay in the direction you want it to go. I'm only pushing from one side, so I'll hold this hand straight and this goes in and up. Okay, got a good height. Remember, this was a bit of a shorter mug. I'm going to bring my wheel speed down a little bit. And I'm pushing from the inside now, so I'm just going to use this outside knuckle to guide it up and around. Bring it back in. And compress that top. Got a lot of water in the base here, and when I'm trimming it, they say you make the inside look like the outside, and what that really means is you're just making the walls an even thickness all the way around. So since I want the outside of this mug to look as round as possible, I'm keeping the inside rounded. And when I trim it, then I'll be able to give it that kind of circular feel that it has in the picture. Now I'm just using the sponge and pushing it out a little bit more. Okay. Still guiding with my outside hand and pushing with my inside hand. And get that round shape. Looks like we could get a little bit more out on the top, kind of rounds, and then it goes in a little bit. So I'm going to use this sponge on a stick and just kind of push the walls from the inside. Got this nice roundness on the inside, and I'll be able to trim it so that it is more round on the outside. There, that's starting to look like some. Okay, I like that. Actually, I like that a lot. I do think it's a little bit tall and maybe a little narrow on the inside here on the top. So I'm just going to trim just about a ½ inch off the very top. I'm just holding my pottery needle straight line perpendicular to the clay, very slowly moving it in 1 little centimeter at a time until it's all the way through. Okay, and then we just flick it up and out. I think we've got it. This is going to be a round base. It'll shrink down. We'll put a little rounded handle on it and get it glazed. Next up, I'm going to be throwing Judy's mug. Looking forward to that one next Tuesday. Have a great weekend. Thanks for watching.